Welcome back to the 1860 Club. Today we've got a 1973-74 Premiership player, Gary Howgate. Welcome, Gary.
Thanks very much, Luke.
Great to see you. It must be 20 or 30 years since I've last seen you.
It's been quite a while.
Yeah.
It's it was a great time, and look forward to having a bit of a session with you now.
Fantastic. Now you've lost a bit of hair.
Bit of a health situation with my daughter-in-law who's undergoing chemo at the moment.
Right.
So I thought, well, what I'd do is I'd go out in sympathy. We did a bit of fundraising at our bowling club in December last year, and we raised about $1,200,
Right.
and which was donated to the Lymphoma Foundation. So I said, well, as long as she's without it, I can go without it.
Fantastic.
A bit of luck, it might grow back before winter because it would be a bit cooler.
Okay. And how's she going?
Yeah, she's going well, thanks. She's got another 2 sessions to go. So we're very hopeful that everything will pan out okay after she finishes the scans at the end of the next 2 sessions.
Fantastic.
That's good.
All the best with that. Yeah. Gary, where did it start for you? You got to Preston in about 70, 71, but where did you play before that?
When I first started playing, I played underage. I've never played underage cricket. I started playing open age when I was 13.
Right.
In the Churches comp with Preston Church of Christ.
Yeah.
And I stayed there for probably 7 or 8 years, and then eventually decided I'd have a crack at Preston.
Right.
So I was lucky enough. I came down here. I did play down in Shield at Northcote.
Yep.
And the captain, sorry, we've got one fly
Yeah.
captain was Rodney Hogg.
Yeah.
We had Gary Howgate in the team. We had Brendan McArdle in the team. So it's pretty handy cricketers. And I actually opened the bowling before Hoggy.
Oh, wow.
So that was a bit of a surprise, yeah.
Absolutely. And you knew a few of the lads down here. You played footy with them or against them?
Not really, no. When I went, you mean in here?
Yeah.
Preston? No, I came here on my own accord.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I didn't really know anyone. I just thought I'd come down and have a run. And at that stage, Jack Potter was here. And I spent some time in the nets practicing, and Jack said, well, look, if you want to come down, we'll start you in the seconds.
Right.
So that was a change for me, and I thought, well, coming from mats to turf, I was looking forward to the challenge, yeah.
Fantastic. So you walked into the second side, which was under Des Healy at the time?
Des Healy was the captain.
Yep.
And he was a great guy to play with because he was pretty forthright. And I can remember one guy who was a baseballer playing in one game, and he played, and he'd taken a catch, and then he decided to try and throw the stumps down as well. So I can remember Des giving him a bit of a serve over that.
Right.
You're not playing baseball now.
Yeah. And you had a pretty experienced side back in those days?
We did. We had the one and only Ian Murray.
Yep.
Baggs was there, Tony Garnett, Scratchy, Graham Mitchell. Steve Hillen was playing in the threes, I think, at that point in time. But yeah, we had a pretty...
Dick Norris, he would have still been playing in the twos at that stage?
Who, sorry?
Dick?
Dick Norris was, yeah. Dick was still around. In fact, Dick actually captained the second, I think, after Ian Murray.
Right.
So yeah, good time, and you hear some wonderful stories about Dick and how much he's given to this club, and I'll tell you what, he really is an icon.
Yes. So you played one game in your first year?
I played one game in the first year, which was Mark Luby was unavailable for one game, so we ended up playing a game out at Dandenong, which was memorable for me because there were 2 guys who were fairly well known around the place, Bobby Morgan and Gary Moore, who were going to pick me up. And I'm standing outside the ground here at the market end at about 11:45, still waiting for these 2 guys to pick me up, and it was finally dawned that they'd forgotten.
Right.
So I raced out to Dandenong in my car and came in the back back entrance, I think, and there's Gary Moore bowling.
Right.
So I thought, well, it's probably one way you want to get there. So, but yeah, so that was good.
Yeah.
But, and then I spent the rest of the year in the
seconds. Yep. Now, the next year happened to be my first year, which is where I first came across you, and I think you started the season in the ones and played every game just about that year. Left arm, very quick on your day, beautiful action. When you got it really going, there was probably not many better bowlers around in the competition.
Oh, it's nice to hear that.
You moved the ball a bit. Yeah. Where did you learn to bowl with that action? Did you have good coaching?
No, it's just something I really put together myself.
Yeah.
It's worked out over a period of time, and eventually it just evolved into the action I finished up with. So,
yeah.
no, it's good. To me, it was reasonably smooth, and I didn't have to do a hell of a lot during the run up, and it just all happened from there.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Yeah. You used to be quite lethal to face at training some nights, I recall that.
Yeah, look, I think most of the bowlers here tended to bowl off about 18 metres, not 22 when it came to practice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it could be quite scary, particularly sometimes when the wickets weren't quite as well prepared as the middle.
That's right. I remember it well. I've been scarred for life.
That's good.
So 71, 72, you played in the ones and you had pretty good results that year. And then the next year, Dick Telford came on the scene as coach. We also picked up David Cherry. And with Eddie, Gary Moore, Scratch.
Yep.
We had fantastic bowling stocks back in those days, didn't we?
We did, yeah. We were lucky enough. We had a very talented group of bowlers. And then, of course, you threw in Donny Hudson as well.
Yes.
Which was a nice way to round it out.
Yes, yes. So it was hard to get a game. You actually had to be performing pretty well to get a game and hold your spot. Is that how you remember it?
Oh, most definitely, yeah. Yeah. I think one of the guys that was always sort of between me and him was Scratchy.
Yeah.
And Scratchy, again, has been a great player at this club, and he deserved all the things that he got. And you'll probably come up to the grand final shortly, but unfortunately for Scratch, he copped an injury just before the grand final, and so I was lucky enough to get a spot. So yeah, so a good bunch of guys, good. Dave Jeffrey was just incredible as a bowler.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to see why he got as few games at North Melbourne as what he did. Because he came across here and he was absolutely dynamite.
Yes.
So,
must have been good bowling in tandem with him.
Oh, sensational.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think you've got to also remember the Bear.
Yes, can't forget.
You can't forget the Bear. Like, he's... again, an icon around this place, and the big innies all day long, and people just, they'd shoulder their arms and bats, and the castle would get knocked over.
Yeah, yeah.
So, no, we were very lucky to have a great bunch of guys there.
Yes. So we developed into a very good side in 72, 73, and then 73, 74, my recollections are we weren't travelling too well at Christmas. What do you recall about that season?
Some people might say my memory is vague because of different reasons, but no, I have to say that I think the 73-4 season was one where we did struggle a bit for some unknown reason. We just couldn't put it together at the early stages of the season. So I think there was a bit of a look in the mirror moment at Christmas time, and I think we were able to turn it around after Christmas.
Yeah, I think we had 2 outrights maybe after Christmas, which put us right in the mix, so to speak. Yes, yeah. And we played The first final was against Williamstown. Did you play in that game?
That's a good question. I can't recall.
Can't recall.
Honest, no.
Yeah. Did you bowl against Les Joslin?
I have bowled against Les Johnson a number of times.
Yeah, good player, wasn't
I
he?
ended up bowling against him when I went to district cricket.
Right.
Because he was coach in Fitzroy.
Right. Okay.
So,
yeah. So then we won the first semi against Willie. One against Baldwin, rain-affected match, but we batted sensationally that day. And then we scrambled together 170 in our first innings against Malvern in the group final. And then you were all fired up for a big day, and Dave Jeffrey went through them.
well, if we go back to the batting side of things, we struggled to put together a thing, but we had a guy called Lee Cooper who actually made, I think from memory, 86 not out, and he was the one that probably from getting the runs on the board made a big difference. He gave us something to play with. I came in late in the game and knocked up a quick 15 or 20 or something, and tried to run quick singles, and poor Lee is bucket. And but anyway, we managed to get the 170 odd, and then the next morning was a pretty wind-swept day, overcast. There was a mysterious plot of wetness on the wicket, and I have a feeling that
Because it rained overnight.
it rained overnight with the wind behind him, and took an incredible 8 for 33, I think it was.
Yeah, he bowled magnificent, didn't he?
Oh, unbelievable. And so
Quick.
And then you had Eddie running into the wind, as he always did, and he just held up the end. He got a couple of wickets, so it was a fantastic result.
Yes, it was. You mentioned you got a 15 or a 20, what it was. You were a pretty handy bat when you got going. You used to give it a bit of a nudge, the straight drive, the off drive.
Oh, it was nice. If I had the philosophy, I think, that if the ball was air-headed.
Yeah.
So probably should have made more runs than what I did, but I never really put enough effort into that side of it.
I remember you actually cleared the goalposts here one shot. I vividly remember. I can't recall who it was against, but it was a beautiful two-wood. Yeah.
There were a couple of grounds that I managed to clear the fence on. I can recall hitting the roof of or the top layer of the bricks on the other side of the ground here.
Right.
And clip off the legs, and unbelievable. But no, it's good.
Yeah. So the next couple of years rolled through. We never had the success we did. We lost the grand final 74-75, which we got caught well, both teams got caught on a pretty ordinary wicket.
Yep.
And you played through until about 77 with the club?
Yeah, it would have been 76, 77 or thereabouts. And then I decided, there was a guy that I played baseball with who played a couple of seasons here, Peter Layden, Tubby Layden.
Tubby, yep.
And he said, look, why don't you come down to Collingwood, which I did. One of the things that made an issue for myself was that when I first started playing baseball, in the early part of it, I did my knee, and so I actually played for about 5 seasons without a crook knee. So my knee used to blow up after every real bowling session. So it probably only became good for 1 or 2 sessions, and then I buggered. Yeah.
Just before we get to Collingwood, who did you enjoy bowling against? What was the biggest challenge?
No, I think there were a couple of times. There were a couple of teams where you have to look at Ormond. You had John Craig. We had Les Johnson at Williamstown, of course, so that was always a challenge. The first game I played against a an ex-state player, David Anderson,
Oh yes, yep.
who I would think, I'm putting a nice ball down on the offside and you're just clipping it away to leg, and you go, okay, this is a new experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good to come up and have a bit of a challenge against these guys.
Yes, yeah. And you played against Brunswick often?
Yes, Nookie
yeah.
Swanson and we
Blair.
played, I can remember playing a semi-final there against them,
Yeah.
which we won. And me being me, had a couple of beers and stayed around a little bit longer than what I should have. And eventually came back to Preston and finished off enjoying the night. But
Right.
yeah, I can remember being told very clearly, fuck off.
That was probably the occasion where Squizzy Taylor played the trumpet with a couple of broken beer bottles and Colonel Clink impersonation.
Yes, yeah.
And sort of blew 20-cent pieces from one table to another into a glass. Is that
Correct.
the... Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Some people can do some amazing things, and that was certainly one of them.
Yeah. Great playing against Brunswick.
Absolutely. Yeah.